Hi, anybody there?
Velma Jench. Velma Jench.
No. Hi. Uh, I'm on there. I'm on live. They asked me to come early, so I'm there. Okay. Alrighty. Bye. Hi, Sarah. Thanks for letting me know I'm on. Okay, it's 12 o'clock. I'm really happy to be here with those of you who are, connected with Hand in Hand, learning the Hand in Hand tools, trying them out, having lots of, experimental ahas and experimental, oh my gosh, is it really supposed to work this way? And I'll start out by saying that parenting is one small experiment after the next. We are scientists in a sense as we are raising our children. The main problem is that we have not set up structures by which we can evaluate our experiments, including how we are doing in the middle of the experimentation. So that's what listening partnerships are for, is just to give you a chance to process what is going on, how you are in the middle of it, what your children are trying to tell you, just a chance to really have a good tantrum yourself, have a good cry yourself, have a good laugh, so that you are looser and more flexible and your heart has a chance to stay open in this process of parenting. Just, it's nothing is wrong when our experiments do not work out the way we expected. There's just new information there, both about what maybe not to do and what to do, or our children are telling us a new thing and we just haven't quite, we haven't quite opened our mind to what that might be. But these experiments, the ones that go well and the ones that don't, every single one of them is important, and you are important. Your intelligence is important as you parent. And these are difficult times to parent in because there's the support systems that we had set up are are not still in place. We're having to do a lot by ourselves right now, and I'm sorry about that. But listening partnerships will make a big difference. So I'm here to talk about special time today. I'm going to get off my little initial soapbox here and welcome you. Thank you for all of the good, hard work you're doing. Thank you for the love that you're pouring into your child. And to give you a little window in on how to use special time. And today's topic is using special time strategically. And so I'm going to try to remember some examples of each of the ways that I can think of at this moment to use special time strategically. There are lots and lots of ways, but gosh. So one is, and this is not strategic use, this is the recommended use of special time, or the way that we like to start parents out using special time, and that is using it like a vitamin. Special time is the connection vitamin. It's a little 5 minutes or a little 10 minutes. As often as you can regularly offer it, you want to try to offer it so that a child can look forward to it, because it really does light them up. It makes children's hearts sing to have special time, to be in charge of the relationship with you. So, little special time vitamin. A mom I was just working with half an hour ago was saying that when she first gave special time to her daughter wanted to play a board game, and they play board games every day. Her daughter's like 4 or 5 years old. She goes, board game, oh, okay. But the parent felt bad because the child wasn't asking for anything extraordinary. And so they played a board game, and then the next day it's like, special time, you can do anything you want to do. What do you want to do? It could be anything. And her daughter looks at her and goes, I want to play a board game. And so the mom was thinking, there's something wrong with this picture. Why is it the same old thing that we always do anyway? But she paid attention and kind of talked to her mentor with hand in hand. And her mentor said, allow the process. Your daughter will, come up with, not the same thing every day as soon as she can, but she's trying you out now. So let her try you out. Just be warm and enthusiastic about playing a board game in special time. So after about a week and a half, she said her daughter finally, we want to play a board game. And then she said, okay, I get 2 rolls of the dice and you only get 1. And so she set it up that she would win, and she laughed when she won. And the mom could, pretend complain and make it even more fun. And special time began to blossom out and go different places from there. It's like sometimes it takes a while for a child to use the full range of what's possible in special time, but the vitamin happening on a regular basis actually increases safety, increases your child's ability to use it really fully as a tool for their advantage. So, second example is kind of, I guess I think of this example like the warm up, kind of like a boxer gets into his end of the ring, and his coach is like, rubbing the shoulders and kind of mopping them off with with water and a rag, and just kind of telling them they're great. It's a preparation for going into a difficult situation. So we'll call it a pit stop or a warm up. And that's when you use special time before, maybe just 5 minutes before a challenging situation. And the child doesn't, is not facing the challenging situation happily, but the parent uses special time as kind of a connection fill-in, pit stop. So you refuel, and then you get your child out there where they need to, where there's something that's not easy for them to do. And a good example of this, I tell this story fairly often, so pardon me if you've heard it before, but one of our instructors was at an adult party that she'd been looking forward to all week long. She really wanted to talk to the people that were there, her friends. There were some children there, and they were all playing out in the backyard, and her 4-year-old did not want to go out with the children and started hanging onto her leg. And, just having used special time before, she just looked down to her daughter and said, would you like to do some special time? Let's do 5 minutes of special time. Then I'm going to visit with the grown-ups, okay? And her daughter said, okay. And what her daughter wanted to do was get under the hors d'oeuvres table, which had a long hanging tablecloth on it, to climb under there and be birdies. And her daughter wanted to, pretend that she was in a bird nest and that her mommy was feeding her little things. So her mommy fed her for a while and just, cooed over the baby birdie. And then she said, okay, you be the baby. And so, she changed positions with her daughter in the pretend nest. And then her daughter fed her little bits of food, and they were birdies together, one taking care of the other. And when 5 minutes was up, they crawled out from under the hors d'oeuvres table. And her daughter just ran off happily to be with the other children in the backyard. It's like, problem solved. So it doesn't always work out so nicely, but that's kind of your pit stop, special time before challenging situation idea, and it can work really, really well. Then there's kind of a grease the wheels kind of. It's very like the pit stop, but there is a thing that happens every single day that your child does not want to do. And so what you do is you do special time, right before that time, and then you don't demand that they go do it. You don't do your usual adult thing. You just go, well, you need to do your homework, and I'm sure you'll figure out a good time after this special time. So it's kind of greasing the wheels, in particular, greasing the wheels for enjoying things that don't look enjoyable when you don't feel connected. And it's really good before homework. So I think in the listen story, Tasha tells a story about when one of her sons was, she could just tell that this, homework was just not going to be possible. He was edgy and, kind of elbows sticking out all over. And she just said, hey, how about a pillow fight? And he goes, yeah, and they get out the pillows and sort of clear the family room and go whacking at each other. Lots of laughter, and she's like whacking at his feet, and he's trying to jump out of the way of the pillow, and most of the time he can, and is laughing at her incompetence at getting him down, and she gets him down every once in a while, and that goes on for, I don't know, 10 minutes or so. And then, she just kind of lets up on the expectations pedal, and, within 20 minutes, he's off doing his homework. So it's kind of the greasing the wheels use of special time is really helpful around expected schoolwork. And part of what makes it work is that you let go of your agenda and you tell your child that they get to pick when they go at it. And so they can actually know when their mind is open enough to do well at homework. And, if it's not happening, you do another, insert another pit stop special time in there, and then say, I know you're going to figure out a good time. And if it gets to the end of the day and they still haven't gone there willingly, then you can set a limit and listen to the feelings, and they'll get there. So, it's not the only tool that's going to work, but so that's the kind of the grease the wheels, just of a regular thing that they balk at idea. Then you can use special time as a container. And there is just this wonderful story in the Listen book about a mom whose child is using a lot of potty talk, especially in social situations. And it's like driving the mom nuts. And, the child really is compulsively pulled to using potty talk. And so the parent says, okay, we're going to have potty talk special time. And they called it PTT, I think it was, or butt talk, because the talk was mostly about butts. So it was butt talk time. And so for 10 minutes every day, it was butt talk time. And they would go off into a room so it wouldn't, the potty talk wouldn't pollute the rest of the family atmosphere there. And the mom brought some warmth and some interest. And it's like, okay, tell me all, say it all. And her daughter would make jokes and they would laugh. And pretty soon they were making songs about butts and doing like dances about butts. And her daughter got very creative. And this went on day after day after day. But what it did was it provided a container for this semi-impulsive, as when children get impulsive about a behavior, it's because there's an emotional tension behind it. But all of the laughter was releasing this tension and also releasing a lot of creativity. So that actually, her daughter would leave the home in the morning and go, Mom, I can't wait for BTT today, butt talk time. And her mom would actually feel elated about it too, because so much creativity was coming out of her daughter around this, is socially somewhat iffy subject. And after a month of BTT, her daughter was not impulsive about this kind of language. Or if she became impulsive, then she'd go, Mom, I need some BTT. And so it just became a nice container for difficult behavior that others found difficult, and that the mom indeed found difficult too, until they focused on it and began connecting around it and warming it up and her daughter began showing, many talents that were, kind of blossoming because of the attention and this just funny situation of making a lot of fun out of something that's socially not so acceptable. And you can do that with aggression. You can make a container for aggression. You can make a container for I hate my little brother. You can put, I hate X, Y, or Z. I hate this person. I can't stand this person. You can put that into a container. Okay, I'm not going to let you say how much you hate your siblings, out in the family. But every day we're going to take 10 minutes. You can come in, and I really want to listen to all of the things that have been hard about your little brother or your little sister in the last day, and I will write them all down. I will write them down. And then after you've written them down and you've heard them, you don't solve anything. You don't try to teach them or guide them. You just listen and let them unload. You make a list, and then it's like, okay, shall we burn the list? Do you want me to light a match? And you light a match to the list over the toilet and let the ashes fall into the toilet or the sink, or, you take the list out and you scuff it in the mud or throw it in a mud puddle and let it, float down the drain. So it makes a good container, and it can really help children who are full of impulsive behavior. It may not be the only. I mean, you still have to set limits at times, but having a place where that behavior is okay and where you are paying warm attention really makes a difference. Basically, the child isn't being treated like a bad child for having stored tension that shows like that. And I guess the last one that I'll say is what is, I think there's some other psychologist that calls it a love bomb, where when things are really impossible between you and one of your children, getting some help so that the other children are cared for, during the day and overnight, and you can just go off with the child that you're just not connecting with, that you're clashing with all the time, or who's always clashing with somebody else in the family. You take them off, and yes, you do maybe a half an hour of special time during that time together. But the rest of the time, you just do what you can to have a good time together. You go someplace that's not home, that's not so familiar. One of our instructors, when she was at loggerheads with her oldest boy, I think he was 10 years old at the time, and she was just, everything he did really grated on her nerves, and everything she did grated on his. She set up time for their father to be with the other two boys, and she, booked a bunk at the local youth hostel, which was, I don't know, half an hour away. Took him there. They had a night at the youth hostel. They found something to eat. They did a little special time, but then they just did whatever came to them for about, I don't know, 20 hours or so before they had to come home. And it really made a difference. It's like, and all of that can't be special time, but just getting one-on-one time with some special time in there so they have full control over some small piece of it. But just letting things unfold together again without the extra pressures of what other people will think. It's like if they act out in public, you don't know those people, and they're never going to see you again. So you don't have to be so tense around what your child shows in the middle of their difficulty. And oftentimes you relaxing and them relaxing just begins to rebuild the relationship in a much more workable way. So those are the thoughts about strategic use of special time. I hope they will be helpful. And there's a question here. How to do special time for the first time. Do I explain to my kids what is special time and what kinds of things they can ask for? Um, I'll tell you a funny story. I was doing a class, a short class at a nuclear reactor facility, a research facility that had a nuclear reactor. It's a national facility. It's about an hour away, and it's full of scientists, scientists on pretty heady stuff. And so I'm talking about special time, and I send people away to try special time, and I come back, and one of the dads, put his hand up and he said, "Okay, here's what happened in my special time." I explained special time very carefully to my 3-year-old. I told him what it was. I told him what it's called. I told him when we're going to do it. I told him he could do anything he wanted. I explained it really, really carefully to him. And then I said, okay, you can have special time now. You can do anything you want to do. What do you want to do? And he had a glass of milk there, and he drank some milk, and then he looked at me, and he looked into my face and went, and he splattered milk all over me. Everybody laughed really, really hard. It's like, oh, the least expected thing, and it happened to you. And I think that, the message was, I really didn't need all that explanation, Dad. A little too much science there for me. So anyway, that would be my guess. But basically, you just say, I've got 5 minutes. I'm going to put on a timer. During these 5 minutes, I'll do whatever you want to do. What do you want to do? The nonverbal communication is like 10 times more important than the exact explanation. Oh, that's all. And we're going to be finished when the beeper goes off. I'll do whatever you want. And if you're introducing it to a 10-year-old, then you say, I've got 10 minutes of special time. I'll do whatever you want, but we're not taking the car anyway, and we're not going to anywhere, and we're not going to spend any money. We're just going to do it here at home. So you put a little more parameters on it for older children so that they, don't, they have a better idea of what can happen in 10 minutes. And you don't instruct, and you don't teach anything, and you don't tell them the right way to do X, Y, or Z that they've decided they want to do. You just let them experiment and enjoy them. So your job is enjoyment. Your job is delight. Your job is yes, unless they've chosen to play chess in the middle of a busy street, in which case you say, well, we can't play chess out there, but we can play chess on the sidewalk if that's what you want to do. So you find the nearest best thing that's safe. That's it. That's it. You'd really, the long explanations might get you milk in the face. So the simpler, the better. And your child will catch on sooner or later. Okay. All right. And so a leaky cup kid who can't get enough time with me, how do you handle that right now while in lockdown? This is quite difficult. But what I would do is say, if you have the inner capacity, if you've had a good listening partnership lately so that you're feeling, warm, and the generosity in your heart, you can feel it there. I would do a special time extravaganza, so 15 minutes of special time. Do a larger chunk than you usually do if you have a usual practice. If you don't have a usual practice, start with, just a fair size hunk of special time, and expect fireworks at the end. In a way, special time is really a good tool to use with children who have a leaky cup, because there is a frozen need for more, more, more. It's inside of them. It's a feeling of need. It comes from earlier hard times in that child's life when they couldn't possibly get what they needed. You probably couldn't possibly furnish it because they were sick, or they were in the neonatal intensive care, or because you had to take a trip because of a crisis in your family, and so you were gone. You couldn't furnish what they wanted and needed. That feeling's still there, and every time you take 2 steps away from them, that feeling, kind of blossoms up and takes over their brain. But special time offers the connection that they crave, and then the limit at the end offers an excuse to have a big cry about why there isn't more. So in general, a leaky cup kid will take, like you might start with 10 or 15 minutes and then go, give them a warm hug and say, we'll do this again tomorrow. And they'll say, but we didn't finish. We didn't finish. I need you to finish. And the tears will start coming down their face. And at that point you say, no, I know we didn't finish, sweetheart. We didn't. Look at that. And just, yeah, look at that. We didn't finish. and just, sort of note the fact that it's imperfect. There's an imperfection here. Just like you would say, the sky is blue. Oh, we didn't finish. And let them cry, let them have their grief about it's not perfect, it's not as much as I wanted. I should have more, you should give me more. There's going to be all kinds of messages that it's your fault, that it's imperfect. And you just go, going to give you more tomorrow. I will, I promise. And let them grieve. And this will slowly but surely help them work on the stored feelings that pop up 50 times a day that, this isn't enough. This isn't enough. I'm not getting what I need. As they can grieve about not getting all they want, they will become more and more satisfied with what is. I guarantee you that. It's hard to listen to a child. It's sometimes hard to stay relaxed while you're saying, no, we can't do more right now. But you're not busy. Nothing else is happening. I know. I know. We're going to do more tomorrow. And just, basically show that you think the present situation is safe while they feel the lack of safety in the old situation, and show you how they feel. That will make a difference. There's an article online called When Your Kids Will Do Anything to Get Attention. And that article addresses the way to use other tools on a child with a leaky cup like that. Okay. Let's see. Special time, taking time to connect, roughhousing, and stay listening have been lifesavers for the 4 weeks we've been in lockdown. I've been really sick with coronavirus, but my 2 boys have handled it so well. Thank you. Thanks, Amanda, for giving us this feedback. If you can write you've been sick, but when you can write a little bit about what you experienced and what happened with your children, we would love to hear your anecdotes and share them with other people who are dealing very directly with the coronavirus. Thank you. There's a special time toolkit. We hope that you'll have fun with it. And also, just the last thing, we haven't talked about this much, but you do need to expect, in general, for the very first weeks and maybe even months that you use special time, when special time is over, your child is going to have some reason to have a good cry right at the end of special time or within 20 minutes afterwards. So you do special time, they seem fine, they liked it. They ask for a sandwich, you make them a sandwich, they sit down, the sandwich, they take one look at it, and you cut it into triangles. And in their mind, they were expecting rectangles. And all of a sudden, I'm not going to eat this sandwich. It's triangles. I don't want triangles. You have to fix me another sandwich. And that little tiny pretext around a perceived imperfection is a child working on whatever the backlog is of feelings that haven't been heard yet. It's, the sandwich brought it up, or the jelly falling out of the side of the sandwich brought it up, or the runniness of their breakfast eggs brought it up. It's like you can expect children to work on big, important issues where they could use some reassurance and some connection and some sense of your presence. And you won't know kind of what's down there in the disguise of, 15 minutes of crying over the runny eggs. But don't fix it. If you can stand to listen, don't fix it. If you can't stand to listen or can't stand to do special time, I'll be back next week with what to do when you just can't stand to do special time and or listen to your children, which I'm sure comes up 10 times a day for everybody these days. So we have some strategies there that are fairly tried and true. And once again, just to say that you are an experimenter. The tools that we're offering may not look like they're working for you. Keep trying them this way and that way. Keep reaching out for a little help from people in our parent club or here on Facebook. We've seen them work thousands of times, but that doesn't mean that they're going to be the best thing for you. You have to be the judge of that. You have to use your intelligence. You are the mom. You are the dad. You are the expert on your family. And we'd love to be here to help you. So thanks for joining us. thanks for being part of our hand in hand community here. And thanks for helping one another. Bye bye.